This is the Real Estate Power Play Podcast, getting you the information that you need to be a successful real estate investor. Hosted by Mark Monroe, Ronnie Walker, Gabe Rodarte, and me, Marty Grizzanti. Combined, we've done thousands of real estate transactions. So get ready for real stories and true case studies on finding deals, growing portfolios, and making money. Welcome to the show.
What's up, everybody? Hey, guys, what's going on? This is the Real Estate Power Play Show, and we just wanted to welcome you to this awesome day. It's the first meeting or first podcast that we're doing of the new year, so Happy New Year, Marty, Ronnie. How you guys been?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Guys,
I'm a big fan of this topic, Gabe.
This is Marty's topic, guys. So I get the joy of being the host today, which is helping people out understand. So today we're going to go over one of our best topics we like to talk about because we set goals quarterly, pretty much quarterly, and then we go over the full year. We want to be able to help those getting involved and new to real estate investing. And if you're seasoned, to really grab perspective of setting goals in real estate. It's this obscure topic that people talk about doing, then you could get stuck into this whirlwind of setting goals and not doing anything. We're going to go over all of that today. We're going to go over things of if you're locked up and you don't know how to really be focused on a goal, if you're concerned about going too big and then you get locked up because you're going too big, you're just spinning your wheels. Maybe you're shooting yourself in the foot, what we call shooting, or I do, where you're just kind of like having some minor things that you just want to do to get started. I just want to test some things out. And then also just to really help you put some stuff into play. So today we're going to get a little granule with the idea, the perspective of focusing on your goals, getting them moving forward in real estate investing. So let's jump into it. So, Ronnie, you had something cool to say about setting goals. We all have our different views. So guys, you're going to hear three people's different views towards the goals and how we do it. Do a quick intro of like who you are, your family, your business. So that way, those who are listening and just part of this, if they don't know your story, just make it like 1 minute. Like just let us know who's setting the goal, who's helping us set goals. So
yeah, man, absolutely. So like, I live up in Michigan right now. I've been in real estate now for about 8 years. I've grown a fairly big team. I've gotten rid of a team and I've regrown. I've been able to build two big portfolios and sell both of them of over 100 properties, and really specialized in both wholesaling and creative financing and doing things on that side. So I've set goals for a number of years in different ways, and I've helped a lot of different people set goals as well. I got 4 kids, and that's a big reason why I'm plugging away and building a future for them. So. And really just be an example, right? Like I want to be an example of one who goes out and accomplishes my dreams, to show them that it's okay to go out and accomplish your dreams, right? It's okay to go out there and become a new person. It's okay to plow the road for them. So, as far as like goals go and what that looks like, one of the things that I constantly think of is not just what am I reaching for, which is very important, right? Like, what are the things I want to accomplish? Do I want to accomplish so many properties? Do I want to accomplish a portfolio? Do I want to accomplish relationships? How do I want to build those systems? What those look like? But really, what is the type of person I want to be at the end of the road, right? Because the goal is like the end of the road. But there's a lot of times where we'll hit the goal and then we run out of steam. We don't have a next. We don't know what's going to happen. It's like, man, if we hit that goal, that was a dream. Well, now I've hit it. What do I do now? And it's important to realize who do I have to be a guy who accomplishes those goals? And I think that really sets the tone for me of, in my company, one of our core values is that we're constantly learning and growing, right? And for me, learning and growing and contribution are so big. And so as I'm thinking about my goals, I'm thinking about how am I contributing to the world, right? To the marketplace. And 2, who am I growing into, right? Not just, I hit and it was a transactional goal and I hit this goal and now I'm done. Oh crap, can I do it again? But no, I want to be the guy who can hit this goal to 3, 4 times. So now I can set a different goal and I can become what that guy would do. And so I think that's really important as we're thinking about our goals. Is we're on a journey. We're on a journey of creating freedom in our life, right? Like, I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to build a portfolio. I want to be able to spend time with my kids and my family. I want to be an example for legacy. Well, guess what? Legacy doesn't happen from hitting your goals one time. Legacy happens by developing who you are and becoming a new person in the future. So that's my baseline for goals, man.
Okay, guys. So there you go. You hear Ronnie's point of view. Marty, hey, man, let's do a quick intro, like a little bit about who you are, what you do and everything. And then we'll jump into just kind of your perspective of how you're doing your goals.
Yeah. And real quick, and Ronnie didn't say this, but one of the things on why goals are important and why telling people your goals is important is I actually know one of Ronnie's, life goals, which is to redevelop properties in Ireland. We're talking like old, Ronnie, am I right there? Like,
yeah, historic properties.
Yeah, which they're all historic in Ireland at this point.
Right.
But that's really, really cool. And why that's so important is maybe, right? And possibly someone listening, and me or Gabe, might have an in on that someday and go, hey, Ronnie, I got this property in Dublin.
Right.
What do you want to do with it? Anyway, So that's off track. But yeah, Marty Grizzanti, I'm here in upstate New York. My partner, Matt, and I, we run a real estate investment company. And, we do two things very well. We take high net worth individuals and we place capital into large or small multifamily commercial residential projects that are value add or cash flowing properties day one. And we love it. We love doing that. We love putting people's money to work, right? So that's what we do very well. Goal setting wise, I think it's one of the most important things you can do is writing down your goals. And why I say that is because, it's a little different than just putting it on your computer on a Word doc and letting it, just sit there on your computer. I really think you need to write it down. And that takes a different kind of thought processes when you're writing it down on a piece of paper and a pen. I know that sounds easy, and guys, a lot of people don't even write down their goals. They think they write down goals. They don't. They're not really doing it. You're like, yeah, that's a goal of mine. But it's like, is it? Because if it's not written down, then you don't really have your goals, I don't think, truthfully, right? And I really believe that it's a huge separator from the people who get after it and start to accomplish things than people who are whimsical. Like, yeah, that's one of the things that I want to do, Gabe. That's one of the things I want to do is flip a house this year. Well, write it down, put it down there and start telling people your goals, I think, is another thing people don't do a lot of. They kind of keep it inside of them. They kind of treat this like it's some sort of secret. No, you should let people know your goals because some of these people are going to hold you accountable to those goals. Some of those people are going to say, hey, I thought you said you were going to do that this year. Or, hey, I thought you were, going to do something like that, or you were going to take that networking meeting, or you were going to take that class, right? And sometimes you need that. Having somebody being accountable for you is not a weakness. It's a strength. You need to tell people your goals so that you can get these things done. So I'm a huge fan of goals. I think you need to write them down and you need to look at them almost daily. Thoughts, Gabe?
Thoughts about the perspective from the Marty. I like some of the stuff you said because you're saying stuff about some people don't even write them down. One of the things that came to my mind was just the fact of putting down your real estate goals of, hey, I want to buy a house. I run into a lot of people from our networking group and stuff where they'll just say, I want to do 4 flips a year. Okay, cool. How are you going to go about doing 4 flips? Well, if you want to close out in 4 flips by the end of the year, that means by December, your last closing has already happened, or maybe in November, or maybe in October, you already did your last closing, which means it had to hit the market, which means that it had to be flipped. You had to have already buy it. And if that happens, that means that the 3 before it, if you kind of go backwards, you had to do 3 other transactions before that, which means that you have to start today doing something to be able to hit that goal. I have a lot of perspectives of this because I just read a thing. Someone put it out there today that Elon Musk was saying something like, if you gave yourself 30 days to clean your house, it'd take you all 30 days. If you gave yourself 3 hours, you'd knock it out. Right. And so there's a law to that. There's certain calculations that people put to stuff like that. So do a quick intro from me. I'm a family guy, family of 5, 3 kids. I've been doing construction for a while, and then I got out of construction and started doing real estate investing. The stuff that I started doing differently is really starting letting people know I'm getting involved with the real estate commercial. I am looking at these certain categories. A lot of folks in my space lean towards doing multifamily. I'm not doing a lot of multifamily. It's an appeasing type thing that I see people do. So I have to make sure I look over what I want to do. I look over my goals, maybe not as often, but I had to look over them enough in the beginning of a commercial to go, I had down multifamily, guys. Like, it was on my list to do. And then I was like, I'm not sure I want to do big multifamily. Like, I don't know if that's me. I started interviewing the people that are in that space, which is also helpful for those who are interested in doing stuff like that, and started asking, what did they do? How did they do it? And I think that's where we go off the most. If that gets me in the feels, it gets me of going, Ronnie, what do you do? Marty, what do you do? How do you do it? Okay, I need to do what they do. Okay, he does something else. Okay, cool. Now there's another. He does single family and flips. He does single family and short-term rentals. And you grab all of these perspectives and you're going, they all work, by the way, y'all. I mean, they all really do work. So we really approach things in a perspective of, what can it get me? And I like what Marty was saying, and Ronnie were saying, what are you going to become? Like, what do you want to do? Like, and then you can start saying, is that going to get me where I want to be? Right? Like, if you notice that somebody who's doing a type of business that you're doing, like, for instance, a realtor. So you could be a real estate investor and a realtor, but I noticed that some people that look at being realtors, they start seeing, wow, I've been doing this for 18 months and I'm realizing you really have to dive in the first 18 months to 24 months to become a great realtor, to get those referrals, to get this other stuff. And then they'll step back and go, I'm not sure I'm really that person that's willing to do that. That's perfect. That's okay, because that's how you help get your goals all lined out. It's totally okay. Instead of waiting 18 months though, what about interviewing a couple people? Maybe interviewing a couple of top producers, like real quick, within the next 3 weeks, you set a goal and say, I need to talk to Marty, to Gabe, and to Ronnie. I want to see what they're doing. I want to see how they're doing it and how much time it takes. Okay, cool. That now I know which one is going to help me get to my end goal for the year, right? So that would be more productive than just going out there and trying to figure out how to be this awesome person, in real estate investing. Anyways, that's a little bit of my take of stuff that's going on. Guys, let's go into, we all have our different perspectives. If we are newer investors and we want to know how to get involved with real estate and we need to set some goals, it's the beginning of the year, we might be, year 2 or under, and we're trying to figure out the rest of the game. We might know how to do some wholesaling or some flipping. How do we set goals that aren't just tied to the dollar, right? Because, I mean, let's say if you flip the deal, Ronnie, and your goal is to make 50K this year, and you do one deal and there's 50K, do you run out of momentum, steam? Are you thinking, okay, cool, let's get to 100? Or are you like saying, oh, I'm the pro, let me work on something else? Like, how do you see this?
Yeah, so I see it as a exercise in momentum. First is you have to decide what you want, right? You have to decide, hey, do I want to do 4, just like you said. But then we get stuck in, well, how do I do that? And we try to, quote, figure it out. And what we don't do is we don't create momentum. And momentum is created by taking your decision and then making small actions in alignment with that decision immediately, right? Like, if I decide I want to do 15 houses this month or this year or whatever, the next thing you do is, okay, what's 2 things I could do right now that will help me get towards that goal? Like, right now, not tomorrow. Tomorrow's the busiest day of the week, right? But right now, what can I do? And then tomorrow, sitting down and, okay, what's a few more things I can do? And the only so you want to start there because you want to create momentum. Okay. You want to create momentum towards any and every one of your goals in some feature. You don't want to write it down and have no momentum towards that goal. However, on the flip side, there's 3 things that new investors need. Okay. Outside of momentum, which is constant action. Number 1 is you need the knowledge. You need to know the strategies. You need to know how to do this. You need to know some of the things you don't know. Okay. So you need to go out and create a systematic way of learning, whether that's books, whether that's podcasts, whether that's connecting with someone in the local, whether that's going to a RIA, whatever that looks like. Number 1 is you've got to get knowledge, right? You've got to get the information that you don't know. Number 2 is you need a network. You need to build a network. You need service providers. You need someone you can look up to and model their process. You need agents. You need buyers. You need all kinds of different people. Title company. You need a network that you need to start building. Relationships. Gabe, I know you're on this. Relationships is the name of the real estate game. Okay. There's a lot of other stuff you can do, but if you don't have relationships, it's going to limit your ability to explode. And it's going to, if you avoid it or you don't look at the networking side, you won't feel it immediately, but you will have a limit. It's like, what's the thing called on a car when it limits the speed, right? What's that called? Do you guys remember what that's called? It's
governor, like the governor or something.
Yeah, the governor, right? You're putting a governor on your ability to win. And then the last thing is you need leads. You need to get leads. You need to go out there and you need to generate people who are interested in selling their home or whatever you're trying to get. Whatever lead gen you need to accomplish your goals. I don't care what it is, right? You need some type of lead. You need to do something. You need a plan. You need action towards that so you can get those. So if you can focus on what are my daily actions, small actions that will give me knowledge, that'll build my network, and that will get me leads, that's where the new people in this business need to focus. And then as they're doing that, their actions will start to create momentum and it'll start snowballing. And then when it starts snowballing, then you're going to realize, oh, dang, I need to reposition myself to handle this new snowball. I thought I was only going to do 4 a year. Dude, I got 17 people that want me to buy their house. You know what? I need to do a little bit of wholesaling, right? I can't just do fix and flip. I need to figure out I need a new relationship. Let me call so-and-so. And you'll be able to adapt to the momentum you've created.
Man, that's really good, man. That's very practical for those who are listening. And if you guys have questions or anything like that, since this one's live, let's go into seeing if you guys had any questions for us. We'd be happy to answer them. And then also, if you're on YouTube or on podcasts, like this, subscribe. Let us know if there's any topic that you want us to go over and really hammer out. We have a broad range of knowledge that's on here, and we also have some speakers that come on here. We could ask those questions to them too. So Marty, what are some practical things to help out a new investor?
Well, let's just rewind what was just said.
You want to go deep into Ronnie, huh?
That's what Ronnie brings to the table is just real practical skills or just real practical information that new people can take. I mean, literally, if you just worked on those 3 things, I would probably put leads number 1, just a little bit of a change, but leads. How am I going to get leads a day? X amount of leads a day. How am I going to talk to so many people a day that is going to build my network? And then what am I going to do to learn every day? And you just got to get 1% better on all of those every day. And you'll be 360% better by the end of the year. And that's probably already an insane amount of growth that if you just said those 3 things in your goals, if you're brand new, call it a day. That's it. I'm not even going to touch that stuff any longer. Those are the 3 things. But again, I'd write them down and I would start to take it as serious as your health, as serious as your life, because it is your life. So you got to really put these things down and really dedicate yourself to these things. What I will say is that one of the things that I've been doing this year that I never really did previously is I started to do more of a 5 and 10 year goals. And part of what I look for, when I'm thinking about my 10-year goals, is I think about, what are my work, what do I want to have from 10 years ago, like in regards to like my career? What does 10 years from now look like? What does it look like in my family, like my home? So like I wrote these down, so I'm going to just kind of look at it on my phone here. But, what income level do I want? And this could be 1 year, this could be 5 years, this could be 10 years. What level of responsibility do I want, right? Because some of us are not going to be business owners. Okay. Some of the people listening right now, they're never going to do entrepreneurship. They might be doing intrapreneurship, which is really great, but this might just be something that they do on the side. So at your career, what are you doing to, what responsibility do you seek there? How much authority do you want to command at that career? Entrepreneurship or intrapreneurship. What prestige do I expect from my work, right? That might be a little, now some of this stuff's a little dated in the writing, right? But it has the same thoughts. It has all the things that you really should be thinking about, whether you have those same, goals or not. But family, what kind of standard do I have in living for my family? What kind of house do I want to live in? What kind of vacations do I want to take? What financial support do I want to give my family? That's one of my biggest whys, okay, is that I want to be able to do whatever I want with whoever I want and take those people with me. I want extreme freedom. That's what I'm looking for. It's not just financial freedom. It's extreme financial freedom. And then social department, what kind of friends do I want to have, right? So here's a really cool thing. This was 2 years ago. I never met Gabe or Ronnie. And my business, my acumen in business, my overall just thoughts of how big and how much I can do has changed since I met these two guys in Mark Monroe. And that's because I joined a mastermind. So whether it's paying for a mastermind or just creating your own or just going to do something like that, it's going to change your life. And I really believe hanging around the 5 people you hang around with can absolutely supercharge those goals you write down, right? Those can take you from, maybe it's something that happens in 10 years for me. Maybe it's something that happens in 5 years for me. I don't know. Maybe 1 year for some people. And, what type of worthwhile causes do I want to champion? These are important things to me that I'm starting to think more about 10 years from now. I don't think it hurts to think that far ahead. So those are a couple of different things that I look at. Also, like Ronnie said, those 3 things, God, those are so good. Knowledge, leads, yeah, and of course, your social network. Those are beautiful things.
Yeah, guys. And so so you're talking about your, the lead side of things. And I really like this because whenever I talk with people, I mean, even I've been doing a little bit more commercial, just when I say a little bit more compared to the massive amount that I do for single family type stuff, as I'm doing more commercial, I'm noticing really they have the same questions, right? So even no matter what business you're really in, it's the same questions of, okay, I need to be more organized. I need to make sure I'm running the race that I need to be lined out for. I'm all over the place. I'm doing all these different things. I'm trying to grab some traction. And so if I could just chirp in, I've noticed, with that being said, with there being so much knowledge out there, YouTube videos, we got podcasts like crazy. It's really cool to just start mentioning the things that you're not. Like, you know what? I don't think I'll ever be this type of guy, right? Or this type of lady, or I want to be this type of mom, right? Or I want to be a stay-at-home mom that does real estate. Okay, but what type of real estate? You want to be a realtor? Do you want to be a long-term whole person? Do you want to be someone who just subsidizes your income? Are you wanting to do real estate to really pay for college for the future, right? So really highlight these things that everyone's talking about here of saying, what are you not and what do you want to become? And then because this really just helps out also, because if you're trying to be something else, if you're trying to be the let's say short-term rental queen or king, and you're messing around with a lot of flips and stuff, flips are pretty time consuming, and you need to have a really thought out, lined out plan with your teams and stuff. And you might be buying some short-term rentals like as they need some rehab work, and then you're going to put them into the process of doing short-term, but you're not really doing it for massive returns. It's a different type of rehab. It's a different type of budget that you're going in with. And so It's just something to really think about. And so as I look through, just to highlight what I do is I have 100 goals that I set up every year. I go through and I edit 100 goals. It's the hardest thing that I have ever done. If you ever wanted to endure a challenge, I bet most people by the time they get the goal 40, 45, all of your selfish stuff, all of the family stuff, everything that you could think of kind of fits within 30 to 45 goals. I mean, pretty much. And then you get to 45 and I'm over here going, well, what else am I going to do? And it just helps me to think bigger, like more in depth. So I started putting stuff down, like my counselor, right, that I go to. I stopped going to her now, but the one who really helped me process some internal things when I was younger, I'm like, how much does one of those process? How much does that cost? Well, it costs about so much. All right. So I'm asking her questions. And she goes, why are you asking me all these questions? It's like, well, I have an internal goal that I want to be able to pay for 10 people's scholarships to go through your mentorship and your training. She's like, wow, I don't even know if anyone's ever told me this before. And I'm going, yeah, because you helped me. And I know that there might be some people that they're on the brink, but they just need a financial push, right? They can't sign up for it. They can't get that breakthrough because they don't financially have it. So these are just some internal things. Now let's play that to the role of real estate investing. Let's say you have stuff that's within you're in your lane, and now you figured it out and you've talked to people and you've done your due diligence, like Ronnie has mentioned. Guys, what do we do now that we picked out the lane that we're in? We have for me, the 100 goals. For Ronnie, you have your things lined out. For Marty, you have the introspective and the long-term 5-year, maybe 10-year plan, more of a legacy plan. Guys, how are we putting this stuff into practice, and how can we help people really start putting the rubber to the road today? Like, what does that month to month and the month end or the quarterly end look like? How do we hold ourselves accountable to that?
Organization. And did you hear me? Organization. And I think the way to do that is you can either get like a planner to help you. And I think what you want to do is you want to keep them in front of you, right? And by organization, it's not so much making sure the files are correct, but it's, okay, what's my next month look like? Am I reviewing them every day? What's my daily action towards this? And how do I put it in front of me? Okay, how can I create a routine so it limits my decision power so I can review them on a consistent basis? So that way I'm not having to think about it and rely on my willpower. The actions that we take consistently build habits, right? Like if you haven't ridden a bike in 10 years and you go out and you jump on a bike, you're going to be able to ride because it's a habit, right? It's something that you've learned to do. There's muscle memory. And so if you don't create a habit, why is that so bad? Why can't you just, well, you might miss a day writing down your goals. Well, a day turns into 4 days, and 4 days turns into a month. And then you're in a month from now and you feel like you're overwhelmed in chaos. Well, when you're overwhelmed in chaos, that person you were trying to be, you don't believe you can be that person anymore. Well, now all of a sudden you're like, dang, I'm not making enough money. I need to do blank, blank, and blank, but no one's going to sell to me anyway. Well, now your mind is working against you, right? And you're like, oh man, I need to listen to some motivation. So you go off and you listen to some motivation for a day, for an hour. Well, you spend an hour listening to motivation. Now you feel better. You take some action. You get a result or two. That's cool. But then 2 days later, that result backfires on you because it was just one seed that planted and they back out. And you're like, oh crap, maybe I do suck at this. And so without that daily habit, it's very easy to spiral in the chaos that the world will throw at us. There's a book called The 4 Ds of Execution. And he talks about that the whirlwind will snatch you up if you are not careful on the road to your goals. And so to accomplish it, find a morning and an evening routine, something that allows you to do it. What does your weekly routine look like? Study. One of the things I'm doing for the first time ever, study the schedules of highly successful people. How do they schedule? How does Patrick Bet-David schedule? How does Warren Buffett schedule? How do these guys run their lives? And it's very interesting. They don't pack their calendars. They don't. That's not how they run their schedule. Now it's outside of the purview of this meeting to talk about how to do that, but go study what they do and then create a routine. Because if you can have a routine where you're focusing on the most important things, right? There's a book. Most people have heard of this book, but The One Thing, right? What is the one thing that you need to do over and over again and study, what does it look like for me to create a routine to accomplish my goals? Because if you can create a routine, you don't have to think about it, right? You don't have to think about it at all. If you have a routine for what you wear, I literally just did this at a recommendation from a friend of mine. I basically set up my clothes for Monday through Sunday, right? And I've got a little system now. Monday through Sunday, it's cold. Here's some outerwear I can grab. And that way I'm not thinking about what I have to wear in the morning, right? I've got it all. I took 2 hours and I figured it all out. And now I grab the same things on the same
If you're
days.
a lady, that might not work for you, but for the guys, this should totally work for you.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And my wife came in and picked out the outfits too.
There you go.
Right? So you
go.
can wear the ones she wants. So
yeah.
So it's about the routine though, because if you don't, you're gonna wonder how I suck. I can't do this. I can't be here. I don't know how to be organized. I have to think. I don't have the willpower. Guys, it's not about willpower. It's not about willpower. But if you don't come up with some type of system, you won't be able to execute on a consistent basis. And consistency, guys, consistency at a high level is the name of the game. Because I tell you, I'm doing acquisition calls right now. I tell you, if you're not consistent, this stuff can beat you up. You know what I'm saying? If you're not just grinding and grinding and grinding and realize, hey, I'm digging for gold, one's going to pop up, you'll get discouraged. And so it's about the process. It's about the routine. It's about getting better.
That's
and better
really
and better.
good. That's really good. And I kind of want to hang out there a little bit, Marty, if you don't mind, about the acquisition calls and stuff like that, because I know, Marty, you do some of these too, right? Like this is one of the parts that we talked about last week when we're talking about mobile homes, is not a lot of people have this part down. And if you're going to be doing real estate investing, and if this is something that you might be somewhat new to, or you're learning it, maybe in the first couple of years, this is something that you have to be majorly consistent on. And if anything, you will know in 30, 60, maybe 90 days later is when you really pay that price, or you get the reward of the price you paid today, right? What about paying the price of it, right? And the consistency of that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. It is. You got to pay. You want big goals. You know what I'm saying? You write down these big goals. You better pay for them. And it's through sweat equity. It's through doing the stuff no one wants to do. And here's the funny thing, is it's that doing the stuff that nobody wants to do, that no one else is doing, that should make you want to do it even more. So the cold calling, the following up, right? The continued outreach for private lenders, all that stuff sucks. And that's why it's so good. That's why it's so important, is because that's no one's doing it, right? Not a lot of people are doing it. And so that's how you kind of amp up yourself when you're taking those and just going, no one else is doing it. I'm the only one that's doing phone calls at my lunch break right now to an absentee list, right? And just getting in that, like, yeah, I'm a badass for doing this, right? And you are, because you got to think that way, or it's just not going to work out. You got to really embrace that hard and that suck. And I know that's like cliche, embrace the suck, but if you can like figure out a way to like game it with yourself and kind of just, it's like going to the gym and all of a sudden you're doing reps. It doesn't take long before you start to really see, till you start to see like it working. Like, whoa, man, I'm getting big. Feels good, right? And oh my God, I got these appointments now because I'm just sticking with it. And like, yeah, I've got 8 mud and I took a bunch of punches, but felt good. I learned a lot and it was fun. And now I'm going to keep going because I know that's what it takes to get to my goals. So a lot of people want to get that good stuff right away. And I get it, right? We all, doesn't work like that though, because you don't deserve it. You deserve it when it goes well. You deserve it when someone goes, I need to sell my house. Thank God you called. You deserve that because you put the time in, right? So that's, ooh, man, I love this stuff, man. I love this stuff because it's tough. And I think tough stuff is good for people. And it gets you it gets you thinking like, hey, if I want to be here, now you don't always have to work always hard, but if you can work hard and smart, you can really go far. That's what I think personally. You can really, really go far by doing it. But yeah, it's, I kind of lost my train of thought here, but yeah, it's embrace it. Love it. Love what you're doing. Ronnie, what are your thoughts?
There's a saying I heard not too long ago that said, it's a new day every day, right? It's a new day every day. And I think there's a phrase in the Bible that says his mercies are new every day, right? But there's a good side and a bad side to this. The good side is if your yesterday sucked, like today's a new day. Like that's awesome. But if you've been consistent for 2 years and you've had good days every day for 2 years, guess what? It's bad news because today's a new day. And if you don't pay the price today, right, you'll start having a bad day. And that way it's the rent is due on this stuff, guys. When you're accomplishing your goals, the rent is due every day. And you got to figure out what that rent payment is. And I really liked what you said, Marty, because you've got to learn to associate the suck with pleasure, right? You got to learn to associate, man, I'm going to call all these people and they're going to reject me. You can't think that way because your willpower won't allow you to succeed. But what you can do is, I'm going to call for 2.5 hours. I'm going to be a courageous person. I'm going to call for 2.5 hours and I'm going to get sharp.
Yeah, it's definitely a mental game, man. It's definitely
absolutely.
And you're saying something, but you look at Marty and one of the things I like about Marty, Marty's that guy that, like, those who don't know, you really need to have someone like him in your corner. Cause it could be 500 people doing the same exact thing. And he's like, heck no. There's only one person doing this, and that's me right now. And I'm going, dude, I'm pretty sure 5 other people are doing this right now. And he goes, nope, only me doing this right now. And I'm like, okay. But that's me. Like I get up super early because I know no one else really does, and I know that as much people thinks that they do it, they don't do it with an organized, like I have a timer in the morning and I do that. And it helps me get a morning win. Just to get my day going. I'm that guy that needs to do that. There's some people, I have some really close friends, guys, that they're in real estate investing and they're like, dude, I don't wake up till like 8 o'clock. Do they still knock it out of the park? Oh yeah, they're doing terrific. So if you're that person and you're listening to this, we're not saying that you got to be up there, the hustler and grinder that's just, always putting your nose to the ground. But the thing is, like, he's figured out a way that works for him, right? He's like, yeah, but when it comes to me putting my time in and doing stuff, I get really diligent with it. I don't mess with my time, and I get it knocked out. So really what we're talking about, really putting that time in, is he will embrace that sucky moment of it. And so I have to be that person because I've noticed myself as like, I just like to put it in early just so I can get my big wins and start knocking that stuff out. So I like to know, kind of like Marty, that I put in some work before everyone else. Like, it just gets me going.
Yeah, because you can control it, Gabe. That's the truth. Like, you can control how hard you work. You control your effort. I'm not always going to be the best with my techniques, right? But I'm working at it, but I'm also just knowing, hey, I'm putting the effort in. And I am muddying through it at times. And that's what it is. And that's what it's got to be sometimes to be the best that I can possibly be, is that it's just going to take a lot of effort because I'm not always the smartest, fastest, always have the best, back and forth with a seller. So I got to be the effort's got to be there if I'm going to be able to hit the things I want to hit. Right. So it's a lot of it to do is stuff that you can control. You can control your effort, right? You can control how hard, you can control your dials, right? You can control your diet. You can control if you go to the gym. These are things that you can control, which help with those little promises you keep to yourself, right? Because it always comes back to me is the confidence. It's the confidence to get on the phone and do this stuff. And how do you build confidence? Well, it's keeping promises to yourself. Did you say you were going to make 20 phone calls today? Well, you better make the phone calls, or you're going to start kind of diving down and saying, well, I didn't do it, and I'll do it tomorrow. No, it's today, but you keep those little promises to yourself. You keep that rapport with yourself that increases your confidence, that allows you to make those calls, that allows you to talk to those people that you didn't think you were going to be able to talk to. Hey, I'm talking to this guy who owns 300 units. Okay, he's a human, I'm a human. Let's have a conversation, right? So, but it starts with this. Because Ronnie said, Gabe, you said it just a second ago, in the morning. Yeah, it starts in the morning. You got to win that. You really do. And I think that's how you win most of your days. I think that's how a lot of people get a lot of when they're feeling good. It's because something happened really good for them in the morning, right? So something that I've been doing recently is I'm not looking at my phone until I do my, half of basically my morning routine. I need to get my meditation in. I need to get my reading in. I need to get my drinking of the water in. Okay. I need to get my journaling in. Then I can look at my phone. Then I can look at the shit. Right. But before that, no, I gotta get my stuff down, and then I get my workout in, and then I'm unstoppable. Who's going to touch me after that stuff? Come on.
Obviously, Marty is unstoppable, and he's helping you get to that next place. And we all talked about different stuff. So what are some stuff we can help you do? Marty or Ronnie was mentioning earlier about getting your calls in. It seems like a lot of us are talking about getting your calls in daily. Do the stuff that you have to do on a daily basis to get to that big goal. So let's say if you're going to do real estate investing and you're listening to us and you want to do rentals. Well, now now you could quantize that thing, right? Like we could put that into a monetary form of saying, how many rentals do I want to do? Or what's my cash flow that I want to really be looking at? Or this is what I want to have before the year is up. I want to do my first one, or I want to do my 10th one before the year is up, right? And so there's different ways to go about doing it. Ronnie, just to kind of, since you've been leading off the charge on us, what are some of the things that you would advise for really putting some numbers to paper? Now that we kind of have a perspective of why this is so important, how would you suggest newer folks or folks that are listening to get going?
There's two primary ways that I think are the most beneficial. Let's put it that way. Way number one, and both of them, if you don't have prior success to look at, okay. Number one is to model what other people do. So look at what someone else's numbers are, and then say, okay, based on that, if I do those actions, I should be able to get X results, right? And so you just model somebody else. The second way is if you don't have somebody to model, or you don't know the insides of someone's business, or you don't know what's going on, literally pick a target out of thin air. Just pick something and then run at it as fast as you can, right? Just take as much action as you can, because what's going to happen is you're going to be taking that action for a month, and take consistent action, right? As much as possible. And then after a month, look back at all the action. Make sure you document it somehow, like have your phone calls, have whatever it looks like, right? Look back at that month, or look back at that 2 weeks, and figure out what the ratios are for you, right? Figure out what you need to do. And what you're doing is you're throwing paint against the wall to see what sticks. And then if something does stick, whatever it is, figure out, okay, I just did like 20 things. That stuck. What was that thing? You know what? I direct mailed. Okay, who did I direct mail? I direct mailed so-and-so. Okay, so that list I direct mailed, I did blank. I need to increase that by 25%. And then do the thing that stuck over again. Don't cut everything else out, right? But increase the thing that stuck by 20%. And then do a little bit more there, and then just plow away. And then as things stick, just figure out, okay, this is what's working. And then look at your history, and then just start navigating to it's like being a pilot, right? When you fly to Hawaii for vacation in a plane that goes there all the time, guess what? They don't have one route that they go. the wind blows them off course and they're like flying around. And so they're constantly looking and adjusting. But they've gotten so good at it that, hey, okay, we can just adjust and we just come back. You've got to get good at adjusting. Hey, when something knocks you off the radar, direct mail all of a sudden dries up in what you're doing, you got to be, okay, boom. All right, I got to adjust a little bit, right? And then you're still navigating towards your goals. So that would be my recommendation.
Marty, what about you, man?
So good, man. You guys, it's just great because I sometimes just get lost listening to what people are saying. Like what Ronnie's saying or what Gabe's saying. It's just like, it's great. It's good. Write it down. I really need to bring my pen and start writing more on when we have these shows. But yeah, I mean, I guess what's the question?
So the question is, how do you quantify some of this stuff, right? Like how would you say, okay, I got these goals. I know what I want. I know what I want to do. Right now, how do you put that into, okay, this is my monetary goal. This is how many units I want to pick up, or this is my real, like how do you put it into a number format to help yourself go, okay, I've been working. This is working. Okay. This is good. So is a KPI thing for you. What would you do? Yeah.
And that's why it took me a second, because I'm working on that stuff. Right. That's stuff that I'm working on. That's stuff that's never been something that has helped me get my goals before. Right. So it's something but in order to go to where I want to go, I know I need to do those things. So I need to get better at that stuff. I need to get better at figuring out, if I want to do 30 houses, right? If that's one of our goals is to flip 30 houses this year. Well, then we have to figure out how much mail that is. Right. So, or how many calls that is. So we kind of, again, this isn't what I would suggest people do, but because it works for us, we're already fire aim kind of thing. Like we just go and do it. So like, we're just going to hire people to make, we know how to do cold calling really well. So we're going to hire people to cold call and then figure that out and see how many people does it really take. Right. So are we on track to hit? And if we're not, let's hire more. And if we're not, but again, it's not always how you just can do it. You don't just have to throw gasoline on a fire to make it work. But that's why, that's why we've partnered up on different businesses, like in regards to the mobile home park stuff, because we're really good at what we know how to do really well. I don't want to get good at, I don't necessarily want to be the greatest at like being a data scientist in like the KPI stuff, right? I don't want to really do that because I'm really good at getting on the phone and really good at marketing and really good at that stuff, right? I'm really good at content creation. So I don't want to do that. So I guess to quantify for some people, like if you're like me, if you're kind of someone like that's like me, like if you're like a Ronnie, you're going to get this stuff automatically. You're going to do it. You're just going to get it. Like you're just going to be good at that part. If you're just someone like me, I would just say, start figuring out, hey, I want to, if I want to reach X goal, right? Then in order to do so, especially like in leads, let's say, I would pick one thing. Like I would pick one lead source, right? Cold calling or texting or direct mailing, and just start. I would start to experiment with it, to be honest with you. That's how I would do it. I would start experimenting because that's what we're doing today is we're experimenting with our cold calling. So it's tough for me to do that. I think we probably are, and I'm not even saying it. And that's probably what's happening too, is we do look at certain things, but I really, truthfully, it's not a strong suit, but we got to get better at it. We got to figure out those things in order for us to grow to the next level. That's good, man. I love the honesty and the transparency. So those who are listening to this, you have really 2-3 different views of how to go about doing stuff. Ronnie's definitely the mastermind, methodical. If you ever want to know how to run a wholesaling system, he's the one that we go to say, hey, I need a better system. And he has it all in place, and he's done it multiple times, and he's paid the price for it. And Marty is the type of guy that I just love being around because he's a go-getter. He's going to go get it done. There's a lot of people that are like that I run into that just get it going. And that's pretty much how I got started, is just, I don't even know what I'm doing. This is just what I was told. So go do it. There was no KPIs. There's none of that. We're getting that stuff organized more now, which is cool. I could look back and go, this is where most of our stuff come from.
But I'm right in between you guys, right? I'm kind of doing my own thing where I'm just like, okay, I know what I want to accomplish. I know what it's going to take. So when it comes to like monetary type things, we're pivoting some of our desires. And I'm a smaller team, but we're pivoting some of our desires of looking at the single family so much as more looking into commercial type stuff. So I have a whole bunch of learning that I need to do. And so really my time is, Gabe, did you put your time into study? Did you put your time into learning? I have calls with people that are doing underwriting on big projects. And what I'm doing is just saying, hey, can I just be on the Zoom call with you while you guys go through the underwriting process? And they're helping me out. And then I'm a guy that's in Houston, Texas and Texas metro area. So I'm like, hey, is there anything that you want me to help you do underwriting on and stuff? And I'm putting out this stuff. Lo and behold, because I'm doing this though, guys, deals are coming my way. So it's crazy because I'm not intentionally asking everybody in the world for more properties, right? I'm not intentionally doing it. I am choosing the route of saying, if I just provide enough, if I could just be the person that can help other people grow enough, I end up being that guy. I got a lead this past week. They want me to help them sell their property. And because I'm a realtor in the area, I'm like, well, sure. Yeah, that's pretty easy. I could do that. I know how to help you do that. Got to get one yesterday, already got it sold. We just got to get the guy out of the house. These are all in just, it kind of just starts moving forward in that direction, but it took a while to get that machine up and going. And so just follow the models of what you're hearing people do and that you hear Marty and Ronnie do, guys. It's very helpful. And yeah, we all have stuff to grow. I mean, I'm so glad Marty mentioned that because I know that Ronnie has his things that he wants to grow on. It's like, you know what? I really don't have all this part down, or for sure me, there's a lot of stuff on mine that I'm like, I definitely don't have this stuff down, but I know that it's moving in the right direction. So that's some of the stuff. Is there any highlights? We'll start with Marty first. Marty, is there any highlights that you want to just send someone off with?
Yeah, it's what Ronnie said earlier. I think that's so perfect for whether you're brand new or a vet, is when you're really thinking about it, how for real estate investing, especially the three things: leads or prospecting, marketing, right? 2, what am I doing to grow my knowledge base? Like, am I going to is this what I want to do forever? Or do I want to maybe pivot? Like, what's coming down the line in the future with the real estate market, right? We might have to shift, right? Which is a book that Ronnie mentioned. That's a great book. I've been reading it now. And then the third thing is your network. It never hurts to like grow your network, right? Because I think we've said it, someone said it, your net worth is your network, or your network is your net worth. And I really believe that. So 3 things to work on for 2022 are those 3 things.
Ronnie, what you got?
Yeah, I would I would say that you stole my thunder first off, Marty, but that's okay. I'll go a different direction. In order to really set your goal, you got to be clear on what you really want and why you want it, right? Like if you set a goal just to set a goal, the likelihood that you have enough associations with this is going to give me this much pleasure, this is going to get me what I want versus this is the pain that I want to get away from. Kind of those neuro associations of understanding yourself, then you're not going to be committed to it. And so being able to really get clear on what you want, why you want it, and what drives you, right? And if you can do that, there's a lot of like self-assessment questionnaires out there. There's a lot of stuff. I do that actually. I revisit them regularly just to I want to figure out. About 3 years ago, I decided I wanted to start following the trends of Ronnie. And so what that meant was every time I got angry, I wrote it down. I wrote why I got angry, right? Hey, what causes me to get depressed? What causes me to get excited? And what I did is I started trying to get clear on the trends of Ronnie. When someone else said something to me that might have been a blind spot, I wrote that down. And so my recommendation, if people haven't done this, and this is kind of like step 0, not necessarily step 1, is, since Marty, you stole my step 1, is I'm not going to let you live that down.
I have nothing to offer, so I just steal what Ronnie has to say.
Really just understand your reasons and what you want. Don't try to be like the Joneses. Don't try to be like the Ronnies or the Martys or the Gabes. Figure out what drives you, right? And if you can figure out what drives you, if you can figure out why you think the way you do, if you can figure out what causes goosebumps to come up on your neck and to man, I want to be this person. I'm sick and freaking tired of blank, right? And I will never let blank happen again because my kids are blank, right? Like if you can dig deep and you can figure that stuff out, you can change the world.
Boom. Look at that. Did you hear that?
And I'm so glad I stole it because then he had to come up with something.
Yeah, he had to
pull that out of him, and he goes, "That's actually better."
I have special skills. The skills are pulling this stuff out of Ronnie.
Woo! I love it, man. That's
all
great.
right. Guys, thank you so much for just giving your time and talking about goal settings and just all the stuff that you guys gave. I learned a lot. I'm just learning from you guys and just being here and just get to hear. So I know that people who are listening are learning. Guys, please like, subscribe the channel, the group, the podcast. If you are not on YouTube, you could go to our YouTube Real Estate Power Play and subscribe there. We got other stuff there. Ronnie does calls. That gets posted on there. So you see that on there. Marty puts stuff out there on the properties that he's walking. I'm walking out on mobile home parks and RV parks. Mark is doing vacations. No, just joking. Mark is out there on doing land and land acquisitions while he's always on vacation, doing cool things across the world. So guys, connect with us. We'll be happy to connect with you. Ask us questions, and we'll comment on there and just see what we can do to help you grow your business and live your dreams in real estate investing. All right, guys, we'll love you, and we'll talk to you later. See you.
This has been another episode of Real Estate Power Play, guiding real estate entrepreneurs to a brighter future. If you liked what you heard, consider subscribing wherever you listen to your podcast or follow us on YouTube at Real Estate Power Play.